Hi! I love taking Lego models that kids design when they visit Legoland Discovery Center and using them as inspiration for builds. So let's go see what we can find today. Head on over to our model display wall. We have a great little landscape. I love how this tan kind of implies a coast. A cool little goblin friend. I think this is the sister of Vincent Weidman. This is Patricia Weidman. A fantastic globe. And this really well-built bird. Really good sculptural work on this one. But I think I'm drawn to something that is just a little bit smaller. Now, I'm pretty good at making smaller versions of bigger models, but I don't have a ton of experience in taking a teeny tiny model and upscaling it and adding detail. So that's gonna be a fun challenge. The best place to start is by starting. So let's go. I think this eye piece is gonna be a great place to start. And there's a lot of eye bricks to choose from, but we wanna scale this up using brick. So we take a round plate, tile, and then we put a jumper in the middle. And these are called jumpers because they jump the position of the stud over just a little bit. That's the background of the eye. We need some black, which we can use another jumper, and then a little white dot right in the middle of that, and bamski! We got an upscaled eyeball. He's watching. What was that? He's mighty suspicious. I'm gonna use 2 of these, 1 of these, and do that twice to make a little tower that I can put this eye on. Hold on. I'm making a little green guy and I chose a green background. This was a mistake. I work with colors for a living. What am I even doing? Second YouTube video ever. We're figuring it out as we go. There we go. Blue like the sky or the ocean. Where he lives, maybe? He's can swim? I guess it's a little alien, so the sky makes sense. He comes from the sky. Yeah. Just like that. Anyway, we got a lovely bit of little detail on the top with this stud, so let's go over to our lime green pieces and see what we got. For me, the piece selection of certain colors dictates the design of things made with those colors. Like if I'm making a banana spaceship, the pieces that I have in banana colors are gonna decide what that spaceship looks like. So we actually have a pretty good selection here, and I have a bunch of these like little quarter domes, as well as some corner rounded plates. So we'll put 4 of these together, attach these all together, and I like to build myself a little handle for when I'm working on a section. Like I don't ultimately know how the structure of this model is gonna go, so it gives me a little bit of support while I figure it out. It's like Lego scaffolding. Looking good, but I think we can add some more detail up here. Go over to our lime green specialties and take some stuff out. Some of these, maybe these. I've got ice cream pieces in lime green. We are using these. Ice cream alien. As much as I love this full ice cream look, this is not the most sturdy connection, so we're instead gonna reinforce this just a little bit, add some snot bricks, and a bunch of these little guys all around. Plate, dome, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. 2 ice creams at once. Twice cream. Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. And 1 more ice cream. Unfortunately, I think we are gonna run into the same stability issue here. Well, can we move it? No. Let's stick with 3 ice creams. This should be decently stable now, so we can add the eye onto the front. This model goes from round to square, no problem here. But I think that's gonna look a little bit silly if we try to do it on our larger model. So we can ease into that transition by using sloped bricks. So let's add a whole wall of snot bricks to support that, which I think means we are changing how we're connecting this eye. And that's fine, we're constantly tweaking how we design the model as we're building it. So we make a bunch of these little ramps. These will kind of fill out the face of our alien. And I like the way this looks, but we have a fun new problem, and that is that if we try to build out the sides just using brick, you can see we have a half plate gap there. A regular plate will not fit in there. And you might be saying, Alec, that sounds like a job for a handsaw and a steady hand. And I'd say, no, don't do that. We have workarounds. There are pieces that work with a half plate, and the main ones that I use are these brackets and these washing machines. These brackets are made to rest on the outside of bricks and they come out half a stud, and these washing machines have a little half stud indentation going into them, which does mean that if we put a plate onto this washing machine, then these are now perfectly lined up and we can put a plate across them. Many Lego pieces are paired, like these brackets have an upward facing one and a downward facing one. Now I only have downward facing in green, and not even the right shade of green for our alien, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna take this off to make it easier, to build out a column of these brackets, just like that. And now we could pop the face back on, but I can't help but feel that this is a wasted opportunity for detail. So let's take it all apart. The Lego design process, at least for me, is like 90% putting things together, seeing how they look, and if they don't look good, then taking them apart and trying it a different way. So we can put this first set of brackets on, but then rather than taking the next set and putting them like this, which would force us to have a green line in the middle, we can actually turn them over and give ourselves a whole bunch of area, like a little window to fill something in. So I'm gonna put an actual window in there. Now, unfortunately, that means that we'll have to continue this bracket going this direction, which will give us studs facing down here, which might complicate things more than this already is. So we're gonna switch to an upward facing bracket in a different color. We're gonna use white, and I want there to be a reason that there is white. Like, it needs to fit in design-wise. So we're gonna collect up some other shades of green, and we're gonna use all of these to design a little gradient, starting with dark green going all the way through to this kind of toothpastey green. Just like that, and we'll end it with white. And I think that's a pretty cool little detail. Now, as far as incorporating it into here, we're going to need to make this one dark green. And now the brackets are gonna form our line of regular green. On goes the bright green. And now we have a problem of studs pointing at each other, which is the same thing that happens when I do this in a mirror. Ha 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 ha, jokes. But we can remedy this by adding tiles to both sides to make them smooth, and then they can sit together like that. So we use a smooth tile there, and then use one to connect these brackets, and we have a lovely gradient. Now, none of this is actually attached yet, but once we add these back on, we're golden. Do the same to the other side, and then we've got cool ear window gradients. And if you're wondering why it has windows, it's because I just came to the realization that we're not just making this guy bigger, we are making him a spaceship to get home that looks like him. This is a spaceship. Yes, his spaceship just looks like a much bigger version of him. And that is the equivalent of me having a car that looked like me, which is kind of weird to think about, but we don't have to think about it. Would my hands and feet be the tires and I'd like crawl around on the road? All right, back to the build. So now that we have the head of our little alien friend, we need to start on the body, but we want to do a little bit of math right now to make sure that it's in proportion to what we've already built. So looking at the bottom of this model, we can see that the dimensions are 8 studs by 8 studs. This little guy is only 1 stud by 1 stud. The brick we use for the body is 1 by 2 studs. So let's do some quick math on our computer brick. This again? Whatever, it's 8 by 16. Now we want to match the curve of the back of this brick, which I think we can do pretty well by using 2 different angles of slope bricks. So we build that angle wider, build up the front, and while that is pretty accurate to the shape, and we could pop the head right there and call it a day, I think we can have a little more fun with it. So let's take this apart. And for this, we do activate our master builder powers of rapid deconstruction. This is taught in week 2 of training, and I shouldn't be showing it to you. So let's continue this gradient with some white, toothpaste green, lime green, bright green, regular green, and dark green, adding in another window so our alien can look out into space. Whoa, space! We'll copy that exactly on the other side. Then we can add a nice little arch onto the back of some of these slopes and kind of slot it in here. We're starting to think about the interior of the ship now too, which is not super big, but neither is our alien. It's gonna be a long journey home, so let's give our alien a comfy chair. Perfect, complete with ergonomics. Pop that in there, make a little control panel. A spaceship has to have all of its random dials and buttons. That's what makes it sci-fi. We left a hole in the back to add the thruster, and we can make a really classic one using a bunch of these dishes. Fire. That looks pretty good, but it can be zhuzhed with cool sci-fi arches. Fun bit of detail here, this cone piece has these little cutouts, and if we place that just right, we can fold down these bars so that they sit in that little cutout. It's a very minor detail, but an interesting build is just a collection of very minor details. We have thrust. Does it work? Oh, yep, there it goes. Let's take this off for now. I put some clips on the front so we can add a door, and we can do some greebling to the front. Greebling just means random spaceship nonsense. Clip that on, and we made the inside red because it's a mouth! Ah, I'm a spaceship. You sure are, bud. Add a roof using some plate, put on a little tile, bump up the studs, and now we should be able to add the head of our alien ship. And with that, I think our model is done. At our brave space captain, we just gotta give him some snacks for his long journey. There you go, bud. You're all set to hit the road. Or space. Space road. Whatever. Wait, actually not yet. I made a very necessary addition, and that was to add teeth. Now you're all ready to hit the space road. Now you may know from my other videos that a crucial part of building a Lego spaceship is testing the swooshability. Just like that. But I think that this spaceship is built for long haul travel. After all, it has to get our alien friend home, and it does kind of have camper van vibes. So this one is gonna require a long distance swoosh. So let's give it a shot. Gotta do some stretches. All right, here we go. Dinosaur dodge.
I can definitely.
10 out of 10. I had a lot of fun building the spaceship, and it was all inspired by this model that a kid made with just 4 pieces. I really genuinely love simple models like this, and I love simple ideas and like creative stories as well, because it leaves a lot of room for the person viewing that to add their own ideas, add their own creativity onto it. With a larger and more complex model, a lot of those details are already fleshed out for you. I think it gives your imagination just a little bit less room. That doesn't mean that larger, more complex models are bad. I just personally think that simple ones are more engaging. So if you're the kid who built this tiny the alien model, excellent work. I was very inspired by it. Bye!